All right, review for the unit quiz. All right, so we have 3 statements below. Well, it says 4. There are 4. So, these 3 statements. Sorry, my bad. I'm not paying attention. So we got this. A dime is worth 10 cents. First, we have to evaluate if it's true or false. Well, that's a true statement. A nickel is worth 15 cents. That's false. And a quarter is worth 25. That's true. So there's our 3 statements. 2 true and 1 false. Now, all we're going to do is take these T's and F's and put them into these and evaluate them based on what we know about, true false statements. So, first one here, we have R and P. Okay, so that's true and true. Or we have Q and R, Q or R, false or true. False or true. Now we evaluate true and true. That's the only time we get a true with this and statement. Or false or true is true. And now we have true or true, which is true. Okay. Number 2, not P. So P is a true statement, so not P is false. And Q, R, false and true. Well, that's a false statement, so we have false and false, which is false. Here we have if Q, then R, and that's true. Remember, with an if then, the only time it will be false if it's T, arrow F. And number 4, we have R or P. So T or T, true or true. If that, then not Q. Well, Q is false, so not Q is true. Okay. So we have true, then true, which is also true. Moving on. Now, we're going to take these 4 and plug them in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just for organization's sake. All right, so here's 1. I'm going to plug it in there. So we're going to have not S, which means false, because false S is true. So not S is false, and T, which is true, or S or T, so true or true. Let me evaluate each one. This is false or true, which ends up being true. Situation 2. Not S would be false, just like before. And T, which is this time false. There I go, put in the A again. Or S or T, T or F. So this is false for sure, or true, which ends up being true. All right, situation 3, using F and T. So not S would be true, and true, or false, or true. Well, T and T is true, or true, which leads to true. And situation 4, false, false. So not false is true, and false, or false or false. Well, true and false is false. False or false is false. So that leads to our final one of finally a false. Okay, we're doing the same thing here. Number 6, just more practice. This is an if-then statement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing the same thing. So situation 1. We have if S, so true, then true, and not S, so not true, which is false. So that's T, if T, then F. And that's a false statement. Situation 2, using T and F. So if T, if true, then T, which in this case is false, and not S, not true, which is false. So we have if T, then false, which is the same thing as number 1, so that's false. Situation 3, F and T. So we have if false, then, and now remember, we already know right now that these have to be true because we're starting with false. And the only way to get a false on an if-then statement is situations 1 and 2, T, then false. So we know this is going to be true, but we still need to show the work. So T is true, and not F, which is true. So that's F, then T, which ends up being true. And situation 4, FF. So if false, then false, and not false, which is true. So that's F, F, and that's F. Sorry, true. My bad. Got in the habit of F. Again, this is the only time you'll have a false on an if-then statement. Right? Now we're going to translate this basically. So remember, when you have a box, we're going to have an or in the middle. Okay, so we can just put a big old or right in the middle. We have 2 compound statements here. So this is an and this is an and. So basically it's just Q and P are or are and not P. That's it. That's our answer. All right. Same thing here. A little more complicated. So we have an or here. Remember, this letter R connected to the box is an and this is an and here. So we start off with R on its own. Then we have and. We have an or statement of Q or not P and P. Now we're going the opposite direction. So we have an and here. We have an or here, an and. So we start off with P and Q. So we just draw a line like that. That's P and Q. And coming into our box, which is our or statement, we have R on the top, and on the bottom we have not P. Remember, you technically should have a little line out there. If you don't have that, not going to mark it wrong, but it should be there. And that's it. We have P and Q. And, because remember, this really means and, this means and there. You don't draw those in. I'm just showing you. All right. Circuit statement for this one. Same idea. So we have a not R or this and statement. So that means we have a big old box, which always put a line on the beginning and on the end. Okay? Kind of like a box and whisker plot from Algebra 2. The top is not R, put a little slanty line. And at the bottom, we have P and Q. Put a line there and a line there. That's it. All right. So we're assuming these are all true statements here. Okay. So Democrats are liberals, P. Republicans are conservative, Q. Independents are moderate, R. Okay. We're not evaluating the truth or falsehood of this. We're just looking at what we have. So I have if independents are moderate. That's my R. Then, so we know we have an if-then statement. Democrats are liberal. That's P. Or, so we know we're going to have an or statement in here. Republicans are conservative. That's Q. So, if R, then P or Q. That's it. That's simple. All right, we have an if-then statement again. If Democrats are liberal, that's P, and Republicans are conservative, that's Q. So, and Q, I didn't give myself a lot of room there. Then independents are not moderate. Gotta be careful with that one. So that's not R. Got a little curveball there. Either Democrats are liberal, which is P, and Republicans are conservative, that's Q. So that's my and statement here. P and Q, or independents are not moderate, not R. All right, number 12. Based on this statement, if I trip, then I will tie my shoes. Which of the following is considered a false statement? Okay. I tripped, I tie my shoes. I didn't trip, I didn't tie my shoes. I didn't trip, I tied my shoes. I tripped, and I didn't tie my shoes. Okay? According to our chart, that is our only false statement. Okay? For an if-then, remember, the only way to get a false is T, if T, then F. All right, write the original as a conditional, the original conditional in these forms. So remember, the converse means we're just going to, switch them, not negate them. Switch them, okay? So we're just saying, if you get sick, then you ate poison. Remember, sometimes you have to change the tense of these. So with the converse, we're just switching them. With the inverse, we're keeping them the same, but we're negating both statements. So this is if you don't eat poison, then you won't get sick. So you're just negating both of them. And the contrapositive is you're switching them and negating them. So if you're not sick, then you did not eat poison. Okay? So you have your original switch, original negated, original switched and negated. Hey, 14. So it says either we listen to our parents or we get grounded. Okay? So we listen to our parents or we get grounded. We didn't listen to our parents. That has to do with the P. So we have not P. We got grounded. That's Q. Okay? If we look at our chart, that's B. Okay? It's a disjunctive syllogism, which has to do with or statements. 15. If I'm tardy, then I will get detention. I didn't get a detention. That ties into this one, so that's not Q. I wasn't tardy. That ties into this one, not P. That is valid by MT, modus tollens. Okay. Last few here. If there's an accident, then we'll call the police. We called the police. Again, that ties into that one, so that's Q. There was an accident, P. That is invalid by the fallacy of the converse. And again, you have this on your chart. All right, if you brush your teeth, then you won't get a cavity. Be careful in this one because the actual statement is a negative. We don't put not Q because that's the statement. It's you won't get a cavity. That's what's going to happen or not happen. So it's still PQ. I didn't brush my teeth. That ties in here. So that's not P. I got a cavity. Now you might think, oh, I got a cavity. That's a positive statement. Well, if this was I won't get a cavity, then this is not Q. So this is really the only tricky one here. And that is invalid by fallacy of the inverse. And last but not least, if he touches a snake, then he will get bitten. He picked up the snake. He got bitten. Well, that is C, modus ponens. Valid. That's it.